last Thursday, today's guest got trapped in a Texas attic for 3 hours. We were worried sick about him. But he made it out, didn't fry, didn't lose 50 pounds from all the heat, and he is here with us today. Welcome back, everyone, to the Caffeinated Cryptid, and I'm your host, Bobby Dizzle, as it says on your screen. We are live Tuesdays. So I always say I've said Tuesdays every time. Sundays and Thursdays, iTunes, Spotify. Check out bobbydizzle.com on your screen. All ways to listen on the podcast apps. This is a caffeinated adventure through Bigfoot, cryptids, paranormal. Might get in some conspiracy and science. And of course, I have my coffee. What's everybody drinking? I think this is Walmart's version of Donut Shop. Probably the best cheap coffee on the market. But enough about me as I go here trying to be my own producer. Today we got Jeff, the Cryptohulk Stewart, live from Texas. Like I said, he did not get emaciated in the hot Texas attic and is here with us today. Jeff, how's it going? You're in your truck in the air conditioning? Probably cooler than it is in the house.
I'm in the truck, in the AC, trying to not melt because it is hot.
That's the craziest. I had to help my dad. You know, you're an electrician. My family's an electrician. I've by the grace of God, I'm not having to do it for a living because I hate attics and under houses. But I had to help him fix his extended router to his shop so he could have internet out there. And I'm like in a camping chair in the yard with a laptop, and I got ate up. And so I'm just want to come in the house. I'm like, just burn this place to the ground. I got more chicken bites than you can shake a stick at.
I'm telling you, man, it's rough, ain't it?
It is. Let me cut straight to the point. You are a cryptozoologist enthusiast, obviously, from your either that or you like Bitcoin. I haven't figured it out yet. Cryptid. I was like, if I get on here and he starts talking about Bitcoin, I've really misread the entire conversation. But
no, I'm not into Bitcoin.
What if you were?
I've actually had like some people that have come onto my Facebook page and commented things like, "Oh man, I thought this was a place for cryptocurrency or whatever." I'm like, man, I don't even. I of course I know what the cryptocurrency is and everything, but I'm like, that's nothing I play with. My money stays tied up in hunting and fishing equipment and
dogs. Dog food,
yeah, dog food. Oh no! Don't feed any of that to them. That out there make them sick. So
it's just paper. It's just paper, isn't it?
It's just corn. Just old Roy is like if when you're reading on dog food, the list of ingredients, they're listed in order of what is in that dog food the most. So like if their first or second ingredient is corn, then that food is about 80% corn.
Oh, God.
And a dog's body cannot digest corn, so it just passes straight through it.
That's hilarious.
And the food that we feed, and it's so funny because I had a friend of mine many years ago who raised dogs, and he explained, he said, if you feed this certain food, you'll notice that your dogs don't poop very much, and it's because their body absorbs all of this food. And I started feeding this really high quality food, and my dog's kennels were not nearly as bad to clean anymore because what they did poo was solid fecal material, and it was like really
fecal material.
And so they do a lot better on quality food. It costs more, but you can feed less of it, and they're healthier.
Yeah, that's what it takes. Used to have the coon dogs. I'd feed whatever I could afford on my cutting grass salary. God knows I was putting those things as bodies back then.
Oh man! Back when I had my coon dogs, I used to run English red ticks, and oh my gosh, I fed them I didn't know any better. I fed them just whatever, like you said, it may be a different dog food every week. You went in the store and whatever was the cheapest because I was a kid and, you're going in there and buying oh wait, I can buy an $8 bag of dog food or a $30 bag of dog food. Well, they're getting the $8.
I buy dog food like Cousin Eddie, man, just stacks of it. on a bucket. Get myself something real nice, Clark. What
Absolutely.
That's yeah. I'm just picturing he crushes that thing on top of it. Okay, I'll be the Cousin Eddie. I've got plenty of time for Cousin Eddie in about 3 months. Plenty of time, I promise.
Absolutely.
Let's get into the cryptid thing, just because you were highly recommended by people who I don't recommend. I don't remember who it was because it's been a long time, but you got friends in low places because they recommended you to me. And he froze up. He'll be back in a second. That's hilarious.
I'm back.
It's stuck like you were trying to sneeze. It always does. What's your obsession with the Bigfoots there? If that is where your cryptid thing goes.
Oh gosh, when I was 15 years old, I had my first encounter.
Okay, that's good. We're rolling.
And then about 10 years later, had another.
Oh God, he's going. He's
satisfied my curiosity, and I have a background in animal science. I went to college and took some animal science, and so I really got into. Oh yeah.
Okay, so that's legit.
Yeah. I went to. Oh gosh, I have several degrees that are worth
wall-mounted diplomas.
Paper they're printed on. Yeah, what they're worth the paper they're printed on. But none of them make money. But I really got into the cryptozoology. I made good friends. Guys like Ken Gerhard, Lyle Blackburn, really good friends of mine. Oh my gosh, you just found out that these were people that were just great people. Everybody in the Bigfoot community that I'm friends with.
They're always usually friendly.
And we all just started talking and sharing ideas. And I'm a retired electrician, but I'm an outdoor writer. I write for Texas Fish and Game magazine, have for many, many years. And I also wrote the Texas Jack cookbooks, and I wrote in a couple of Bigfoot books, Wood Knox series of cookbook of Bigfoot books with David Weatherly and other authors. So I just really got into it. Oh my gosh, I've been on Survivor Man Bigfoot with Les Stroud, Finding Bigfoot, Monsters and Mysteries in America. Just really, really, really enjoy going out and chasing things that go bump in the night.
It sounds fun. I noticed you had some pretty cool pictures of hog hunting out there. I probably should have done more research on your actual cryptid things. I stayed in on the hog hunting pictures. I figured and got tied up on them, but yeah, it sounds. I know you're highly recommended. Like I said earlier, and I didn't realize you were that highly with the Ken Gerhard and the Les Strauss and all those guys. You didn't go to Gatlinburg over the weekend for the Pigeon Forge for the big conference they had up there?
No,
obviously not.
I wish I could have. I'd love to go, but I stick around here. I've got so many irons in the fire around here. I make custom knives. I have a knife making shop, Alpha Dog Blades, and so doing that. Yeah, that's me. In my retirement, I've make custom knives.
Is it spelled like dogs, like a DOG?
Yes. All one word, Alpha Dog.
I'll put it up in the chat there. People could see it. I have a lot of knife makers come on here. Knife makers and authors. The Venn diagram is really close.
I got into knife making just as a hobby. Yeah. I had a friend that made them professionally, and we just were talking, and I was like, man, that sounds like fun. I'd like to make myself a knife. And so I made myself a knife, and somebody saw it. They bought it from me. And I made another one, and somebody saw it and said, "Hey, man, I'd love to buy that one." So I sold it. After I sold 3 or 4 knives, I'm like, why don't I start selling?
Sound like Forrest Gump. You got the end of the block,
Yeah.
run just a little further. Do you do the Damascus
Absolutely.
thing, or you do the old lawnmower blades?
I try to use all reclaimed materials. It just depends on what it is. Been a real journey learning the different types of metals, that are hardenable, because a lot of your metals are not hardenable metals. You can make a knife out of it, but the blade isn't really very good quality. Like a lot of people make knives out of railroad spikes, and railroad spikes, they're not really hardenable. So you're going to have a really soft, you can make a good blade out of it, but it's not going to really stay sharp.
Makes a fine prison shank. Just
I mean, I can make beautiful knives. If somebody wants one, you just explain to them that it's a softer metal, and so it's going to require constant sharpening if they utilize it. But most people, if you build them one like that, they're going to put it on a mantle or in their man cave or something and display it, and it's really not going to be something they use.
You know D.A. Roberts, Dogman guy, author?
I do not.
Seems like he advertises a tactical knife blades that's run by former first responders. Have stuff like what you're talking about, made for veterans, things like that. They have all kinds of custom blades. They have one that's like a broadsword. I was like, I don't know where you can carry that around. That seems kind of impractical.
Oh no, man! Come on, you can walk through Walmart with that.
Hey, you know as well as I that people will try it.
Oh yeah,
where we live.
I probably will.
Waffle House in 357.
Somebody with a katana on their back,
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't even care. Like, okay, that guy's got a sword. It sounds so. If anybody comes in here, we're going to see some shit, see some crazy shit if this place gets robbed.
Get attacked by ninjas in Walmart. He's got it.
Yeah. Somebody starts messing up. Somebody's going to lob a hand off. Looking like Michonne from Walking Dead. Sit up.
That's it.
I'd watch it. So, in your I don't know why I keep trying to shift gears. This conversation's fun without it. Oh, Duffy's here. He said, hang on. He says the katana sword is the best weapon against a Bigfoot. I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to let a Bigfoot know I have anything. Just don't hurt me. It's like dealing with a cop. Hands in the air.
I'm willing to watch. Like I said, I mean, if I'm in the woods and my whoever's with me has a katana and Bigfoot attacks, I'm willing to watch.
I've seen Chewbacca versus a stormtrooper, and they had a blaster. It didn't work out.
Well, that's technically they're inherently inaccurate. And did you ever wonder with a stormtrooper? I mean, I know this is totally left field, but what was the point of their armor? They're covered in armor from head to toe, and like one shot with even the most minuscule weapon, and they're dead.
Oh yeah, they went ah every time. It was almost like it was like battle rattle, like a pickup truck with fake fender flares and things. Just look cool.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, oh, let's just give them this huge piece of plastic armor, and
I would think that they would want to have a little bit of just basic cover against a blaster, since everybody's got a blaster. Not everybody's got a lightsaber. I can understand not being protected against that. Squatchin said he would watch too. Somebody has to call 911. I guess I don't know, man. He's froze again. A very good happy pose. He's froze in. You just split a few watermelons right in front of them, and they know you're not joking. Tell everybody to dig in. I don't know. From what I hear about Bigfoot, if you split water, you start walking in the woods with something like a katana, they're not going to appear. What else we got here? Oh, he's back. Had plenty of comments.
Yeah, I'm back.
That's hilarious. It stop the facial poses it freezes on is the funniest thing to me. Because I took video editing in college, and I was always amazed at every time you stop the cursor, it would always be on something stupid. Like, does anybody ever make a real face? Like, how come every time it stops, it's always on like they're just about to sneeze or something?
Right, or somebody's face.
Yeah, it's always that. When I was in college, I smoked cigarettes, so anytime we did like an example or something to practice, I'd always look like the old lady from the Jeff Foxworthy videos, big old fat lady with the cigarette hanging out her mouth. Like, how come every project you have has a cigarette in it? I don't know, man. Maybe you're going too long. I got to smoke cigarettes outside. Why did he say leaf? Oh, we're talking about making knives. Okay, I was like, why did he say leaf springs? Like, did he just have a stroke mid conversation?
Yeah, leaf springs are very good material for knives.
Leaf springs and lawnmower blades, Carl.
Oh gosh, I got a buddy that owns a landscaping business, and he gave me about 150 lawnmower blades about 2 years ago, and I've still got them. Then I get a lot of old saw blades. Friend of mine works at a place that resharpens the big saw blades for like the sawmills, and the ones that can't be.
Yep. He's back. Hilarious. I'm reading. I got plenty of comments here to go on. I'll get right in it just in case your internet does go out for good. I know mine has before, especially talking about Bigfoot. Holy shit. We're talking about Bigfoot and it's doing this. It's always Bigfoot and aliens. The ghosts never mess with the internet. They must not care that much about being found.
Oh yeah.
But are you flesh and blood while they're here, pure paranormal, or flesh and blood only?
I put it like this. I am a flesh and blood. I do not do woo at all. Bigfoot cannot go invisible. There is no such thing as a cloaking Bigfoot. Now, I do believe that just as in humans, that we have ghosts and we have apparitions, and there's spectral dogs that are seen. There are ghost cats and ghost deer and ghost animals of all kinds.
Ghost cats scratch people.
I believe that some of these things that are seen, Bigfoot that may disappear, it could be a residual haunting. I believe that they have spirits and that it could be a ghost of a Bigfoot.
What if it is? What if that's all? Oh my gosh. What if Bigfoot? Okay, now you just went deep, Jeff, from Texas. This is what happens. You get Texas people on. Shit happens. What if there are no Bigfoot anymore and all we're seeing is ghosts? I've never even considered that.
I do believe that they're still, because the ones that I've seen face to face, and when I say face to face, I've been less than 20 feet in one occasion and less than 5 feet in another occasion. And what I was looking at was flesh and blood. And they did not disappear. And the thing with Bigfoot, like people say, oh, he disappeared. As a hunter, there are so many times that you're sitting there and you're hunting, and you look to the left and there's nothing. You look to the right and there's nothing. You look back to the left and there's a deer, and that deer's already made it 200 yards out in the middle of a pasture. And you're like, I just looked that way 5 seconds ago. That deer was standing there the whole time. And it did not need an invisibility or a cloaking device or anything like that, any ability to do that, to make it out there. Or you look and you see a deer, and then all of a sudden it's gone. They're able to use the terrain. They're able to use vegetation. They're able to use shadows and everything else to disappear. And
deer definitely will come in and out. It's wild. And they blend in crazy.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like I tell people all the time. I mean, I can disappear. I am 6 foot tall, 280 pounds, and I can disappear in the woods. And it doesn't take magic or any kind of mysterious ability to do it. All it takes is for somebody to look the other way for a second and you can disappear.
Do you like the clear hair thing? How they can use their hair to do some of that too? It's kind of what you're saying. Natural camouflage.
No, there's their hair. I mean, there's no precedent for their hair being able to do that. There's no other animal. The only other animals there are in the animal kingdom that can do that sort of thing are like cuttlefish and some octopus species, and they're not covered in hair. There's no hair or fur
Really wouldn't mind seeing a woolly cuttlefish though.
colors or anything like that. So
you got me wanting to see a woolly cuttlefish though. Big hairy cuttlefish.
That'd be pretty scary.
Didn't they use the cuttlefish thing in Jurassic Park on that big dinosaur they built? Made it change colors?
I don't know.
I think they did.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Now, on that same theory, hypothesis, oh gosh, you left again. It's kind of fun. But on that same hypothesis, I keep mentioning D.A. Roberts like you know him. He's just an enthusiast, writes his own lines of books, does research, et cetera, et cetera. But they kind of believe that the wood knocking is a sonar technique, like a bat would. They kind of think it's something like that instead of actually slapping a stick. They think that they use echolocation. Yeah, they think it's that the Bigfoot uses that as a sort of an explanation. That's one of my favorite non-woo stories, non-woo theories.
The good thing about cryptozoology is whether I agree with it or not, anybody else's theory is just as valid of a theory as anybody else's, because we have no data. One of the things that bugs me is like on a lot of shows, cryptid shows, is they'll say, well, it's a fact. And I'm over here going, no, it's not a fact, because there is exactly zero facts when it comes to cryptozoology, because it is unproven. There is no fact. The only fact in cryptozoology is that people have cited something and reported it. So whenever you have people that are like, oh, it's a fact that Bigfoot does this, or it's a fact. No, it's not. It's a theory. And, the echolocation theory is just as valid as anybody else's.
Yeah. It was just one of my favorite non-woo things anybody's ever said. I'm like, that kind of checks out a little bit. I don't know if any other monkeys do that, or primates.
Well, you got to think, people. There are no primates that have night vision, like owls and things like that. So in order for a Bigfoot, which is a primate, more than likely, to move around at night, how do they see?
Reptile. What if it's a reptile? We don't know it.
There you go. Could be a reptile. We don't have a clue. We haven't got one on a slab, which I'm not a kill person. I don't want to kill one, but I do acknowledge that until one is either captured alive or killed and put on a table, we're never going to know.
Yeah. I really don't want that to happen. I don't want one to get killed, but if it accidentally, had a bad misjudgment and got hit by a log truck, and we got to find out that way, maybe an older one, like an old deer.
Yeah, I used to be in the camp of, if I see one, I'm going to shoot it. and so that way I can prove it. But then, and that's whenever I was younger and I saw the first one, you know, I'm like, oh man, if I ever see another one, I'm going to shoot it. And then the second one that I was face to face with, I really realized that if I killed this thing, I would be murdering someone.
Yeah.
Because being raised up hunting, my dad instilled in me the fact that you don't point a gun at another person unless, of course, they're threatening your life. But
yeah, and you always know your target.
Here was something with 2 arms, just like mine, 2 legs, like mine, eyes, ears, mouth, nose, and it stood up on 2 legs, like me. And I'm sitting here and I'm going, how could you shoot that? And then I realized, you know, as an adult, I'm sitting there and I realized if I go my entire life and I never prove that Bigfoot exists, which I don't think I will, I wish I could, but you know, I don't have delusions of grandeur that I'm the one that's going to prove it. But if I go my whole life and I don't prove that they exist, and neither does anybody else, versus killing one just to prove that it exists, I'm okay with not proving they exist, because to me, there's something inherently wrong with killing something to prove that it's alive.
That sounds like some logic of our neighbors to the north a little bit that they would use. But I just don't see it, because if you did shoot one knowing that that's what you were shooting, you'd have to lie about it, because you would know, you'd have to say you thought it was a deer.
Well, what if they did the deer? What if you did kill one and the DNA came back human?
Yeah. Unless you could prove you thought it was a deer, you killed a dude. That's what I've always thought. Unless you could.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why almost every DNA study that has been done on any sample, it always comes back, oh, contaminated. It was contaminated by human DNA. Well, what if it wasn't contaminated by human DNA?
That's what they won't tell you. It's always unknown and human. It's always unknown and contaminated human. It's all they ever say.
Yeah.
Every project.
It's like, well, wait a minute. It was collected by people that know how to collect samples. They wore gloves. They went to the nth degree to make sure that they did not contaminate. Oh, it's contaminated.
Yep.
And it's also, you know, it's kind of like everybody has the argument, why do we not find skeletal remains? And my theory is we do. We find them all the time. There literally are hundreds, if not more, remains found in the woods every year that are unknown human remains. They find a femur, they find a you know, just different bone, and oh, well, they go back and they do if there's not a missing person, it just gets put in an evidence bag and on a shelf.
Just like the Ark of the Covenant, is pushed in the back.
Yeah. And DNA tests cost a lot of money to run. I mean, it's not like 23andMe and, you know, for
send it off to the Mormons for $100.
Yeah. You know, in order to run a proper DNA test and everything on it, they have to send it off to a lab, and it costs a lot of money. And so there's a lot of remains out there that get found, and unless they find the actual skull laying there, in which, you know, we've got a place on my property where we dump hog carcasses, and you can go there right now. There's probably been a couple of hundred hogs dumped there in the past few years. You can't go there and find any bones. because the coyotes and the buzzards and every other animal has drug them off.
Yeah, I used to hunt on a place where the local processor dumped all their carcasses, all the backbones, you know. And,
Yeah.
and you would think there'd be a lot more because they were dumping 200 or 300 a month.
Right.
And it would just, well, they also go down to the ground a lot. Like they don't just sit on top the whole time. If there's any kind of trees at all. And that's inside of a couple of months.
I took on my property line here, I took and put a trail camera up, and I took a deer carcass and I laid the deer carcass out in front of the camera. The next day, there were over 100 buzzards in my backyard. It's a little pasture, but there were over 100 buzzards on camera. I had coyotes on camera. I had bobcats. I had neighbors' dogs on cameras. I had house cats on camera. I had, you name it, there were skunks, there was possums, there was raccoons. And within 4 days, there was not a trace of that carcass left where I put it. Not a trace. Within 4 days.
Yeah, every animal 100 miles on that stuff.
Yeah.
Especially in buzzards.
But then I have another unique theory. I think that Bigfoot are cannibalistic.
Really?
I think they eat their dead. That's one reason why we don't find a lot of their remains. They eat their dead.
Yeah, I would like that unknown remain thing better if the skulls weren't much different or purported to be much different. So yeah, that does check out a little.
Exactly.
Maybe use them as tools, like on the 2001 Space Odyssey. They got that big ass bone.
You never know. I mean, honestly, we do not know. We know so much, but yet we know so little. We have all this technology. We have all these people, these scientists that are actually, out in the field, and, in which that's something I'm kind of in disagreement with is, a lot of these scientists on TV that are out in the field, but yet they don't know anything about being in the woods. They don't. My deal is you don't send the chess team to play the Super Bowl. So why are you sending a lab coat wearing scientist out into the field who does not know all of the natural flora and fauna of an area, and he's out there trying to find the most elusive animal on the face of the earth, possibly. And they couldn't find a deer. They couldn't find a coyote. They couldn't find a bobcat. They could not hunt down and find a creature that there are literally thousands of them in a given area. So
and they make a ton of freaking noise. Don't forget about that.
Yeah. And they smell like and they smell like some kind of body wash and expensive shampoo, and their clothes have been washed in Tide and Gain and smelling nice smelling laundry detergents and everything, and they're out in the woods trying to find the most elusive animal that possibly walks on earth. And sorry, we've made 150 TV shows and we have never found anything. No joke. I mean, I spent time with a lot of these people out in the woods, and I could smell them.
Oh yeah,
so
the coffee and the spray and everything in the world.
Exactly. And I'm over here.
My big anecdote to that is the Christmas I got an iPod 20 years ago. I never saw a deer the rest of that season because of that stupid iPod. And that just tells me a lot about what the crypto folks are dealing with. Cryptid folks, not crypto, not Bitcoin. But yeah, like what you're saying, like they get out there with their crazy shit, and it's just they couldn't see a squirrel or a deer, much less that.
Yeah, I mean they climb out of put it like this. I did of course Finding Bigfoot. Of course now James Bobo.
Where were you at when you did that? Where'd you do Finding Bigfoot?
Here on my property here in East Texas, and
really?
up on the Trinity River. We did some on the Trinity River. But, you know, these guys showed up with 25 people in a crew, sound people. You had producers. You had people that followed you around with a fanny pack with bottles of water in it. They had an entire truck with snacks and a buffet. You know, at lunchtime they had a Penske truck, and they brought tables and they catered it. Lunch was catered, and we had a vegan lunch and a regular lunch. And I'm over here going, I thought we were looking for Bigfoot.
I kind of want to look for Bigfoot if that's the case. I want a Penske truck full of snacks.
Yeah, and they get out of these vehicles, and I can smell the air fresheners dangling from the mirrors, you know, and I can smell the cologne, and I can smell the body wash, and I can smell everything, and I'm like, okay, y'all aren't serious about finding anything, so okay, let's shoot your show.
Yeah,
and
Hollywood. Hollywood.
James Bobo Fabian, he's the greatest guy in the world. He is legit. He is awesome. Can't say anything but nice things about him. He is a great guy. I spent a lot of time with him. Didn't spend as much time with any of the other people, but spent a lot of time with him, and he was great. Now, Les Stroud, now he's a real deal. Mm-hmm. He did not show up smelling like laundry detergent and things like that. He knew what to do. I mean, he was the real deal. And we spent 9 days together in the woods, and he's the real deal.
Did any of those guys actually have? I know Bobo has an experience. Did he talk about that one?
Yeah, talk to Bobo about his experiences. You know, he's just like us, man. He could just sit here and have a conversation with you all day long, and you just be enthralled with it because it's just like two buddies talking. You know, he's not putting on any airs. He's not trying to be better than you or anything. He's just sitting there shooting the breeze. So he's an awesome guy.
All right. Well, in that world, like that world you're haunting in with the Ken Gerhardt and the Bobos and, you know, Les and Doug Hycheck and all those guys, what's their consensus on the like we were talking earlier about how there's kind of a forced injection of the woo into it? Like, what do they think about all that? Like,
some of the guys
talked to a bunch of other people, but yeah,
some of the guys are more open to it. Doug is he's very open-minded about things like that. More so, say, like than Les. Les Stroud's not as open to that. He doesn't dismiss it, but he's a little more like me. I think we need to prove they exist before we give them all of these supernatural attributes. Here's how I equate it. Saying that these creatures can do all of these supernatural things before we've even proved they exist would be like back in the early 1900s, somebody saying that there would be a car that could go 250 miles an hour before the Model A was even built.
Footsteps on the moon. The moon dust was glass where they went to the moon.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we didn't even prove space flight. You know, it's like all of those old TV show, movies, black and white silent movies about going to the moon, and they shoot a big bullet out of a gun to the moon, and it hits the moon in the eye, and people climb out of it.
Landed like that.
Yeah, you know, and you know, nobody had a clue then. Nobody had a clue what it would actually take to leave Earth's orbit. But they made all of these fancy movies, predictions and things, and none of them were real because they had no idea. Science even had no idea at that time what it was going to take to leave the Earth's orbit.
Yeah, they didn't know how to fly 100 yards in North Carolina yet.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at this. We got off the ground 6 inches for 100 feet. Holy crap.
It
That
was
was
not
like,
far. I just visited there last month. That was not far. I was like, wow, that's a flight. I said, he just picked his feet up and fell. That first flight.
yeah,
It was the length
exactly.
of my property.
Yeah. And so when we sit here and we can have fun speculating, we can have
It's
a
always
lot of fun
It's so much fun.
talking and speculating about all of this, but until we prove they exist, then, I mean, it's just like when people, oh gosh, what was it? The mountain gorilla. I mean, it was only proven to exist in the last century.
Yep, that's the big example over in the Congo.
The last century. Now, there were all kinds of mythology that surrounded the gorillas. There was all kinds of attributes that were, they can do this and they can do that. But whenever they actually killed one and they brought it back, it's the big monkey. I mean, they're not a monkey, but that's what they thought.
On that same token, there was some. I hate to spell in the woo because it's my favorite thing ever. Because I just like to sit here and listen like I'm in an old store, So, but there was the thing with the old paintings from the medieval period, the biblical paintings. They didn't know what a camel looked like, and so they're painting these camels from what they've heard people talk, and it looked like a dinosaur. Now, was it a dinosaur? It could have been, but Occam's razor. It was just their misinterpretation of a camel with a long ass neck. I kind of hope it was a dinosaur they meant to say. But it's the same thing with that gorilla you just said. Just look completely different.
You've ever seen is a horse. A horse is the only thing you've ever seen. You've never seen any other type animal. Well, can you imagine the first person that went to the continent of Africa, the first European person that went to the continent of Africa, and they saw a lion, a 450-pound cat. Komodo dragons, they saw, things like this. And I mean, they saw a crocodile. I mean, could you imagine they saw a 20-foot crocodile for the first time?
Yeah, and they never seen anything but like a horse, like a cow.
Yeah.
Maybe a deer.
Think about Europe. Think about Europe. I mean, Europe, they really don't have much. I mean, they have horses and they have wolves and foxes and rabbits, and that's about it.
A little bit of deer, stags.
Yeah, the king owned all of those, but they got a few deer. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, they get on a boat and they're able to go to other places, and they see, in India, I mean, you see a tiger, a 700-pound tiger, an elephant. I mean, my gosh, what did they have to think about an elephant? So
yeah, it was elephants and camels that they were trying to draw. That's right. They couldn't picture them in their mind with the descriptions.
But even in Africa, you have like Mokele and Bimbe, which is, they've seen elephants and they've seen camels and they've seen all of these things, but they still have encounters with a water, a creature that's in the water that looks like a dinosaur. So, I mean, there's still a lot of things, in my opinion. There's still a lot of things in this world that we have not discovered. And hey, some of them may be beyond our comprehension. Yeah, they may be.
Know. I mean, what do you think aliens are?
Yeah, I mean, and here the government has declassified the UFO videos and things like that, and admitting now that there are unidentified flying objects, and they've done some crazy things, and the government has admitted it now. So, you know, they're, even though I do not subscribe to the woo, I'm not ever going to say that there's zero possibility that the woo stuff can't happen. There is a possibility. There's always a possibility. There's never a zero possibility. But I just think that, you know, we need to find out flesh and blood before we give abilities that are supernatural.
Oh yeah, I think the woo thing. I know with me, speaking for me, when I heard the woo as a possibility, I was like, okay, there's a way they could be a giant monkey and be hiding in our eyes and still be real. And well, you know, you saw one face to face, so you know they're real. So you don't have the conundrum of justifying their existence like I do. And I think that's like the little branch I hold on to. Well, they can disappear. That's why you're not seeing them. That's just me. I mean, of course, I like any kind of theory or talk about them.
And like I said, you know, I don't ever like to tell somebody that their theory is, you know, oh, that's just not even worth talking about.
Yeah.
And so I try to go by what science is available. And that there right now on this planet, there is and has never been any hair or fur covered mammal that had the ability for that fur to spontaneously change color, go invisible. I mean, even chameleons and things like that. I mean, they're reptiles. They're not mammals, and they're skin covered, and they don't go invisible. Their skin just changes color to help match their surrounding and camouflage.
Oh yeah, Squatch and Holler Roger Williams a while ago said, "What about the first person saw a chameleon?" Can you imagine? Like, what in the absolute shit is that happening? That thing just turned green. And
I mean, can you imagine looking at a chameleon? I mean, there are eyes that look in different directions at the same time.
Like and triceratops.
Yes, and they got the horn, and their feet are turned funky, and their tail. I mean, looking at that thing, you would have thought you were looking at some kind of monster.
I wonder how long over that 100-year period that people came back with stories about this stuff and like, you are full of shit. There is not a giant dodo bird that can't fly that you can just kick with your boot and eat, or stuff like that, or the giant moa that was basically a dinosaur until like 200 years ago.
Exactly. And you know, here in North America, we have no idea what evidence for something's existence is laying under the millions of miles of asphalt that has been laid. We don't have any idea what evidence is laying under all of the hundreds of millions and billions of tons of concrete that has been poured. I mean, look at the whole island of Manhattan. You know, I mean, what was on that island before it turned into a concrete jungle?
It could just be like an archaeological dream for all we know.
Yeah, but instead, New York, Chicago, Houston, Dallas, I mean, you name it, Birmingham, I mean, you name all of these big cities. What is in the dirt that is under those cities that was evidence of life that used to live right here? We'll never know because...
And Huntsville, where I'm at, has a bunch of places that are on Indian and slave graveyards, just random, like Walmart.
Yeah. Well, think about lakes that have been built, lakes that are hundreds of thousands of acres, and they just dug it down and made a lake, hauled the dirt out, and dumped trucks, and you have no clue what they dug up.
Might have been
It
one
was
of them
dug up.
lake there.
Yeah.
Wendell brought up the fact that the duck-billed platypus used to be a cryptid.
Yeah.
Remember they thought they were full of shit about that one when they first no way. A duck beaver that lays eggs that's venomous?
Yeah. Exactly. And one thing a lot of people mention and they consider it a cryptid, but it's not a cryptid. And that's the thylacine, the Tasmanian
Mm-hmm. They say they're going to be from that Willem Dafoe movie, just a couple of them left. But it was real. I got pictures of that from the 40s.
Yeah, I mean, there's even videos.
You ever seen the movie about it?
Which
Willem
one?
Dafoe movie? It was a Willem Dafoe movie where he went hunting.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, those got to be still out there.
I follow a group here on YouTube that are actually, they have like tons of trail cameras out in Australia and stuff, and they're trying to prove. And it's a pretty interesting group to follow.
It really makes you wonder what my train of thought lost about cave systems, about what that plays into when it comes to things hiding, like because the tiger and of course the Sasquatch, and maybe say the word dogman, which I was trying to keep away from here because you didn't immediately mention it, so I wasn't going to mention it. But like what's hiding in those cave systems around the world, who knows what's under there? There could be another Earth.
Exactly.
Just
And
popping
see
in
now,
and out. Like Maggie in the Simpsons movie.
I'm not a dogman person for the simple fact the first reports of dogman did not come about until recently. I mean, there's not reports of dogman that go back to the 1700s. There's not reports of dogman that go back. This is something, and I believe that it may just be Bigfoot type creatures that are look a little different or something. It's just there's too much influence of modern media type. I mean, movies, books, TV shows, things like that have really influenced the dogman phenomenon.
Yeah. It reminds me a lot of like an internet tulpa like Slender Man. Like it wasn't around when I was little and learning about Bigfoot and reading all the books. And Dogman just came about literally, like, I don't want to be selfish, but like about the time I started hearing about this podcast was when I started doing my podcast like 2 years ago. Was the first time I heard of Dogman. I didn't even like this. I didn't even like when people brought it up. I'm like, that's kind of dumb.
But I think about 10 years ago was the first time that I really remember anything dogmanish. I mean, of course, there's werewolf. Studies, and I'm trying to figure out. Someone coined the name Dogman, and if you see any of the illustrations of Dogman, it looks like a werewolf.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing.
So there are werewolf tales that go back for. It's
a pretty good point. It's like they repurposed the werewolf tales and the giant head of Ra from the Egyptians.
Yeah.
Werewolf and Ra.
Yes, I mean, a werewolf, and I think the problem with werewolf is the mythology there of, you getting bit by a werewolf and then you turn into one. But, in Louisiana, you got the old tales of the rougarou, and in France, the loup-garou. So there is a werewolf that goes, back for centuries, but the actual Dogman, I mean, I haven't seen, any creatures that look like a 7-foot tall beagle in the woods. So
no, a beagle. I'm just picturing.
I was just joking. Nobody get mad at me. I'm just being funny.
Now I got to brainstorm what other animals would look like as dogmen. I'm just picturing McGruff, the crime dog.
Exactly.
Maybe he was the original dog man. They just saw McGruff and thought he was just trying to say taking a bite out of crime.
I'm visioning like this 7-foot tall border collie. Yeah.
I would say dog man it's always German Shepherd looking, like the more vicious, more looking dogs. It's never like a Pekingese dog man. You ever see like a 7-foot tall Pekingese?
When they're drawn, to me, they always look. If you go remember the old movie, The Howling, the original Howling. Mm-hmm. If you go and look at the practical effects, special effects, the werewolf creature that they made for that movie, every dog man that has ever been described looks just like it.
Yeah, they all have the same. It's always the same pointy nose. I'm looking at it up right now. I got to refresh myself. I know I've seen it. Those things are creepy. I used to hang out at the movies. I used to hang out at the movie store. My mom tanned back in the day because they had a tanning bed in the back of every movie store in the South growing up. And I remember seeing movies like that. I'm like, I will never watch movies like that. Yeah, it's always the pointy head ones. Oh, me too.
I actually have made a few movies myself. The movie Something in the Woods. We made that, and then Man versus Bigfoot. Made that movie. And
heard of that one?
Yeah, that's about it. I was the assistant director, the special effects artist, and acted in it. I played Bigfoot.
That's on Hulu, isn't it? You played Bigfoot.
I played Bigfoot, one of the Bigfoot. We had several Bigfoot. I played Bigfoot in several scenes in the movie, and I'm the therapist at the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie.
Is it called Man versus Bigfoot? I've seen that on Hulu.
Man versus Bigfoot. And if you look in the credits, my name's in like 14 or 15 different places because I did all kinds of stuff for that movie.
2021?
Yep.
Was that got Bob Gimlin in it?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, the Bigfoot does resemble you. I can see just kidding. They said They said the smell. They said they didn't have to add the smell. I was like, what that's about?
That's it. Hey, I'm not bathing for that.
You know what it sounds like? You know that movie that just came out, Oppenheimer? I just saw that yesterday. And Cillian Murphy, born to be that role. It looks just like the original Oppenheimer. Maybe you were born to be the Bigfoot. Like I have the natural musk.
That's it.
That's hilarious. I'm going to have to go watch it again. I've had so many people on this show that, I just go cold calling. I just send out 1,000 messages and people come back and be like, they have an IMDb page longer than Tom Cruise. I'm like, okay, why are you on here? But I'm glad you're here. I've had so many people say that, like, I look through your guest list and why do you only have like 400 subscribers? I'm like, dude, I don't know. I'll be there one day. I can just get these big fish that I throw back. But I was going to ask you before we departed here, because it's coming up on an hour. What do you think about the Patterson Gimlin footage?
Being someone that has a background in special effects, practical effects,
mm-hmm.
Here's my argument for it. They did not have the
mm-hmm.
capability in 1967 to build two rodeo cowboys in their garage. Did not have the ability nor the materials to build that suit. Whenever that rivaled, I mean, there were movies out. That's the same time Planet of the Apes came out, mm-hmm. and Planet of the Apes costumes looked like monkey suits. So these are two guys that could have went to Hollywood and made millions of dollars if they had the ability to build a costume like that.
And you met Bob Gimlin on that set, didn't you? On the movie?
Bob and I've been friends with Bob for many, 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 many years. I've known him forever.
I talked to people that met him, and he just seems like he's like dyed in the wool that it's happening. That he hasn't faltered or stuttered like Bob Lazar. Bunch of trustworthy Bobs around here. Me being one of them.
He's a great man. I really love the old dude. I mean, to sit and speak with him. Oh yeah, he talks like this.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, golly gee whiz, And he is just the best guy. He'll keep you rolling and laughing. But that film footage, while I do find that it was somewhat fishy, that they were out trying to film a Bigfoot documentary and they found Bigfoot. Okay.
Yeah, film the shit out of it.
And I know that Hieronymus came out and said, "Oh, I was in the Bigfoot suit."
Yeah. That's my next question. What you thought about him?
But at the same time, here's a question. In 1967, why would two old rodeo cowboys build a suit with breasts?
Yeah, that's what a lot of people go with.
They wouldn't have thought to build a suit with breasts. Two, where did they have a knowledge of anatomy to build a muscle suit underneath the bear hide that supposedly was used and make it move whenever it walked? I mean, that takes skill. I mean, I've been doing special effects for a long while, and it would cost me thousands, tens of thousands of dollars to build a Bigfoot suit that would do even a tenth of what their suit did if it was a suit. So I just have to say, I mean, I don't think, coming from a special effects point of view, that they had the knowledge to build a suit like that back then. They did not have the materials to build a suit like that back then. And they did not have, I mean, why would somebody, if they were in that suit, why would Hieronymus wait 45 years, 50 years, whatever it was, to come out and say, "Oh, it was me"?
Yeah, it wasn't until I didn't hear about that till the 90s. It's like 30 years later.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, waited like 30 some odd years and then come out and say, "Oh, that was me." Waited until the Bigfoot phenomena really was at a really big peak. I mean, they were making all these documentaries about Bigfoot. All the TV shows were starting up, Monster Quest, and all of those shows were starting up. And it was like, hey, somebody probably said, "Man, you walk like that Bigfoot did in that video." And he said, "Hey, I can make $1."
Does Gimlin ever mention Hieronymus?
No.
I'll say, because it's he never mentioned it until, like, I remember when I was probably 9, 10, 11 years old, mid-90s, on the first time I heard that somebody else even claimed to be part of it besides those two.
It's never come up in conversation between he and I. And of course, I've never come right out and asked him about it, because to me that would be disrespectful.
Yeah, I don't think you could do that. Like, at this point, poor guy's lived his whole life.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, hey, one of these days, and hopefully it's a long time from now, whenever the gentleman goes on to his eternal life, he may leave a letter saying, "Man, hi, we got y'all." And all I can say is, "Hey, you were the best." But I don't think that's going to happen.
That's good. Good intel there. Yeah, the ripple of the muscle and the breasts, like, that's detail no one ever asked for. It's always just a Halloween costume, but they put the rest of that in there.
Yeah, I mean, we built this. I built the costume for one of the costumes.
Oh, Bob Hieronymus.
It looks like
back there. Okay.
It looks like a monkey suit. And I mean, I spent 40 hours. I spent 4 10-hour days making that suit. And we spent another I'd probably say 2, 3, 4 days making the muscle pad to go underneath it. And it still looks like a fake Bigfoot suit, you know? I mean, there's probably 2 weeks of 10-hour days total in the whole thing.
It's just got to be real hard to make one that looks realistic up close for a long period of time.
Yeah, and I mean, I sat there and I had the whole internet at my fingertips to order any materials, latex, you know, furs and different things. I mean, I had all of that at my fingertips. And me with experience, I couldn't make something that, I mean, if I filmed it on video, you're going to look at it and say, oh man, woo, that's a bad Bigfoot suit. But it was, you know, I mean, it was best I could do with the budget I had. And
I'm trying to find a picture of it. What about the one from Primal Rage? I mean, that was intense, but it was still, you could tell.
Yeah. And, you know, I put it like this. The first one, Something in the Woods, we had a guy named Travis Driver build that suit. And I'm just going to say that suit cost as much to build as, oh gosh, let's just put it like this. You can buy a really nice used vehicle for what that suit costs to build.
Still looks like that.
And so, and Travis did a great job building that suit. I mean, he did a great job. But it's still, you look at it and I mean, you can tell that it's not, nobody's ever going to look at it and think, oh, that was real.
This main actor in this movie looks like Tom Green. It's freaking me out a little bit.
In which movie?
The A Man versus Bigfoot. In one of the angles, it looks like Tom Green, and I'm like, is that Tom Green in this movie? No, he's not.
David Ford. David Ford wrote. He wrote and directed it, and I was the assistant director of the movie. And it's a good show. I mean, we try to make all of our movies PG, you know, so the whole family. I mean, you won't find any cursing, any nudity in the movies. Any blood in the movies is not gory, grotesque blood. It is like circumstance, you know, something happened and there's blood.
Yeah. It's not a slasher.
Yeah, no, it's not. And we try not to make Bigfoot out to be like an evil monster or anything. I mean, you kind of understand why the Bigfoot is doing what it's doing in the end. And so it really makes a good show, because I don't like making like Bigfoot out to be like a bloodthirsty monster kind of thing.
Yeah, it's totally
because
not accurate.
If they were bloodthirsty monsters, then there would be a lot of dead people at the hands of Bigfoot. Every time you went camping, somebody would die because Bigfoot would get you.
It's one of those, if he could kill us, we'll be dead already kind of situations.
That's what I try to tell people all the time. You know, I've been in the woods so much my entire life. And camp out in the woods by myself. If there was something in the woods that wanted to kill me, I would be dead.
Mm-hmm. Was any other the people involved with this movie enthusiasts like you, and or dare I say you and I?
David Ford, the writer and director, he is a Bigfoot enthusiast, of course.
Besides Bob Gimlin.
Yeah, I was going to say Bob Gimlin. A lot of people behind the scenes that were involved with some of the like the producers and things like that donated money for us to make the film. Russell Accord, he's Expedition Bigfoot guy, and Russell's a great guy. He helped us out with the movie some. Really, me and David and Bob and Russell, we're the ones that were mainly the Bigfoot
enthusiast in the movie, but
Okay.
everybody had at least a working knowledge and curiosity of Bigfoot.
I was going to say I may ask you, call in a favor and maybe get one or two of them. I don't want to put you on the spot for Bob Gimlin for me, but maybe like David Ford or somebody to talk to on here.
I'm sure David
cool.
would be happy to come on. David's
like,
a great.
Hey, get me Bob Gimlin.
David's a great guy. David has, like I said, he wrote and directed Something in the Woods, and then he wrote and directed Man vs. Bigfoot. He's made a couple of other movies. He's a really good guy, really good filmmaker. Not much else I can say other than he's top notch.
Cool. I may try to get that channel open there because I just looking at all this and he's got quite the little resume.
Oh yeah,
David. If he's a cryptid enthusiast, that even makes it cooler.
Oh yeah, and he likes to hunt and fish too.
Oh, redneck! How dare he?
But, I know it.
Bunch of Trump supporting. I mean, not on the podcast. But do you know who Jonathan? God damn it! Sorry, Jonathan Mayberry is. He's a science fiction writer.
I do know the name.
Yeah, he has a cryptid enthusiast. He was on another show I do, just kind of hang out with a friend of mine. He's like, yeah, just give me a call and I'll be on. I'm like, what? I'm like, ugh. So yeah, I was like, man, okay. I'm gonna be having the quiver voice like I do sometimes. Hey, how are you? Welcome to the podcast. Yeah, he's like a big name writer. He goes, yeah, I'd love to come on there and talk cryptids. I've got some stories that I write about. I'm like, oh my God. Because he came on one night about midnight, really late, and he didn't want to get off of there. I'm like, dude, I got to go to sleep, but I'm on here with this quasi legend, and okay, I'm just gonna power through it. I had to go. I'll run to the restroom real quick. I went and made more coffee. It's pretty crazy. Well, all right, Jeff, the Cryptohulk, not Bitcoin. Stewart, do you have anything you'd like to promote on to our friends and family websites, etc.?
If anybody wants to check out our movies, there's a free app called Tubi, Tubi.
Oh, yeah.
It's a movie site, and Something in the Woods and Man vs. Bigfoot are both on that format. And they would, go watch it, and if they don't mind, they can go to our Facebook pages and leave us a comment. And hey, thanks. We have videos here on YouTube about the movie, making of the movie, and things like that. They can go on David Ford's YouTube channel and check those out and give us some thumbs up and things. Everything helps get the word out about our movies, and just appreciate being on here and had a great time and just love talking. Fun.
Tubi is where I saw that at. Now that you said that, Tubi's chock full of old stand-up comedy routines and Bigfoot movies, and that's it.
Man, it's great. It's got every cryptid that you can think of. There are movies on there. Oh, Chupacabra movie. I think there's one on there, Chupacabra at the Alamo or something. It has like Eric Estrada in it or something. And there's like 15 different Loch Ness Monster shows that have the worst computer CG that you've ever seen in your life, and I can't help but watch those. I watch them.
Stephen King one with the giant rat? Remember that one? The Stephen King movie with the rat? Yeah.
Yes. What was the name of that? It was
we talk about it a lot at work because we had rats at work.
Was it The Mangler or something like that? Was the name of it?
It was insane.
I can't remember, but it have like Robert Englund in it or something, Graveyard and Shift. It was a
Graveyard Shift.
Graveyard Shift. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Oh, well, I really appreciate it. And I'll let you go. I may reach out for you on David Ford and anyone else. And if I need ammo against Bob Gimlin, maybe I reach out, but I'm not going to come to you solely for it because I'm not ready yet. I'm going to try to get on coast to coast so I hit 1,000, and after that, it's balls to the wall. But
absolutely,
until then, I'm just lowly old Bobby Dizzle here. So thanks for coming on. And everyone out there, please subscribe and share this episode. It's been really fun. I'm always leery before episodes start, thinking it's going to be crappy, and this was not. Thank God. Thanks for being on again, Jeff. Good talk. Good talk. Thanks everybody for watching. Please subscribe. Thank you.